Okay, so I have this premonition that this blade right here is called the Dragon King's Crag Blade. So if I'm wielding it, that must mean that I'm the Dragon King. Well, I was wondering, what does it actually mean if I was actually the Dragon King? So I started putting together a build set here that I wanted to try out that puts together a lot of strange, completely weird things, and it actually makes you a formidable force as a Dragon King. So this is the start of journey number 10, and I'm really excited about this one because we're going to go through and see just how we do with being the Dragon King. So let's go ahead and start journey number 10. Now we're going to be going through most of all the bosses that are on the way from the start of the game to the end of the game. I'm not going to really be doing a whole lot of like side story everything, and so let's get it on and you'll see just how it takes each boss fight to engage with. And the important thing here is that if I want to look correct, then I go with the bandit mask, but for the extra damage, then we go with the white mask, either one, or the red one. The Crimson Hood here actually looks really, really nice with the character. The bandit mask looks really, really nice too, shows off the ponytail, and then the white mask if we just need extra damage during bleed. But I prefer the bandit mask to be looking the most menacing as a Dragon King. So I'm super impressed with the dragons in this game, and I really, really love them, and it's just so much fun to play with the different dragons in how they operate and what they can do. And so I wanted to see if I had what it takes to actually be the most powerful Dragon King that Elder Scrolls here has ever seen. So here's our first boss fight, and we'll see you guys along the way. To begin this great adventure, my strategy was pretty basic and naive. Do lots of dragon abilities from distance to overwhelm the enemy into a stagger break. Obviously, wisdom is not gained for free, so as I make my way to the Margit fight, I figure I'll practice on the Tree Sentinel. The Mimic and I use all 10 IQ points we have between us to take down the Sentinel, sleep pots and all. I always keep thinking to myself, if I jump higher or run faster, I'll out DPS the boss. But since I don't have PF flyers on, this strategy just doesn't take long to fail. However, I'm too slow to realize it because I just want to believe that I can achieve. So the Sentinel goes down without too much hassle. However, this is really bad for my ego at this point, because I start to think that being a Dragon King will dominate most anything. So I patch myself up, mount my trusty steed, and reflect a little bit on what just happened with the Sentinel fight. See that grace over there I skip? We'll come back to that later. Literally. Cragblade has incredible hyper armor during the animation, but my defenses need to be massive in order to power through any attack dealt in my direction. If I take more than one hit during the animation, I'm toast. But again, hindsight is 20/20, so this doesn't make it through my thick skull until much, much later. The Margit fight pumps my ego even further at this point. I'm feeling pretty good and actually falling into a false sense of security. However, I do become very impressed with Frozen Lightning Spear. I've never used it before this run, so I was pleasantly surprised how well it fits the Dragon King. I say hello to the local wildlife of the castle. I play with a little fire. Now that that's out of the way, it's time for Godrick. And add another grace to the list. By now I've had some success with the very beginning of the game, but this is akin to being good at the Oliver fight in Vayne, and then getting your face pushed in by the executioner a few minutes later. So I had already counted a few chickens at this point, which wouldn't be realized until later. At this point, I figure it's best to go get the Great Rune in order to have an extra 40 levels for relatively free. And since I'm feeling no pain at this point, it was a good idea at the time. I yoink the Great Rune and continue onwards to grab the first half of the secret medallion. In order to do so, I have to rob an old man hiding out as a pot, so I guess he's now Potman. On the way over to pick up the academy key to visit Rennala, Torrent asks me to stop and greet the shiny neighbors. They invite me for dinner. I politely decline. And I bid farewell to the crab. I finally come across one of my subordinates. I ask him to follow me. And he gently declines. It definitely seems I'll have to work on my powers of persuasion. No matter, it's off to Rennala now. Yay! First I have to get some knowledge pounded into my head, fight a happy jumpy puppy, and throw some lightning. Dragon King advances to claim his realm, and then... Do you see this book? This is definitely Game of the Year. And I wanted to finish with Flare. So what happened there? Take a close look. Let's see it again. And there it is. I was blinded by light and almost lost. 11 out of 10. IGN. So now all of a sudden after that fight, my confidence is starting to falter. I have a long trek up to the magma worm to think about my decisions and the validity of my title as Dragon King. In order to make certain that I am the Dragon King, once and for all, I call all the boys for the Wyrm fight. The boys help to distract in order to allow my incredibly long cast times enough of a window for viability. point, we've slain some bosses, gained some confidence, had a few setbacks, but now it's all coming together for the capital, baby. Here we go. Hold the phone. What is that? Okay, you remember that grace we skipped about an hour ago? Yeah, I totally spaced Malenia. No wonder I'm maidenless. So I wander all over the lands between for about another 35 minutes in order to look for my maiden. I finally figure out I'm maidenless and have a few discussions with her to revitalize our relationship. Onwards and upwards, I guess. Because I love the environment, I make sure that I stop to hug a tree before moving on. It's a close call, but I'm still the Dragon King. Goldfrey and I don't exactly see eye to eye, all things considered, so I and myself don the dragons and spit in Goldfrey's eye. I really don't enjoy this fight. Now with Morgott dispatched nicely, not gonna lie, that fight felt really good, honestly. 3-on-1 is always good odds in my favor. I mean, let's be honest, this is Elden Ring. I'm still finding difficulty, though, in the openings and windows of opportunities when to utilize the dragon powers. They're some of the coolest and flashiest stuff in the game, with actual feelings of majestic ability attached to them. However, the length of time required to use them lessens their viability in my opinion. At this point, I've been playing for about an hour, so I'm feeling pretty good and making good progress overall for my ability set and skills. And then I arrive at the Deathrite Bird, on my way to Castle Sol. Heavy emphasis on the death here. And we'll be right back. being the animal lover that I am, I must pet the kitties at Castle Soul. I have to feed the birds. And before I know it, it's Niall time. I figured this would be a simple fight with the Mimic. Well, just watch.
Burn up!
Whew, and thus ends a myriad of pains that I had not foreseen. I'm just happy to have killed the birdie. At least we have the 2 parts of the medallion, and we can start our journey to the snowfield. First, a pit stop over to chat with our good friend Borealis. It really is amazing how this setup for the Dragon King works incredibly well against dragons. It's just the rest of the game that's an issue. Borealis behaves well, and Mimic and I take him down in 2. Borealis is really a marker in the sand for me to understand that resistances and weaknesses make an incredible difference for the Dragon King setup. Niall was a nightmare, Birdo was a catastrophe, and the dragons literally melt in the fire of dragon magma pools. I really believed the slogan of the PF Flyers that I could really just superpower my way through with enough willpower. But Elden Ring is pretty brutal on hard counters. Now, you've seen some ancient dragon lightning strike here and there in the run, but before this run, number 10, I've never used it. I had no idea the unlimited potential locked away within the deep recesses of the dragon powers. More on that later. Now it's just a matter of running and horsing around from grace to grace.
We're almost there. The flame of ruin lies just ahead. I'm glad it was you I traveled with. I must tender my thanks to Torrent, too. Thank you. Torrent, please continue to lend your aid. Till the end.
Now, I'm not exactly sure if it's my end, her end, the end of the video, or what. But in the words of Juba from Gladiator, not yet. So the Fire Giant is one of those bosses in Elden Ring that I really don't enjoy. I can't get to him easily. His attack hitboxes are so far and wide. I can never reliably do enough damage. Because I can't reach him, I can't attack him, he always has the upper hand. I can't ever get a leg up on him in any scenario.
Wait a minute!
So remember when I was saying I had never really used Ancient Dragon Lightning Strike before? Well, when both myself and the Mimic are chain casting, the damage values simply skyrocket to levels I've never seen before or could have ever possibly imagined. I can't even think about it. Remember, Elden Ring is not a game I typically play for fun, or watch reviews or delve deep into the lore or anything like that. So this was an incredible surprise for me that the Dragon King that I'm trying to become can use such phenomenal abilities. I'm a super fan of this gift now, and what an awesome time to realize that I have such a power at my fingertips for the Fire Giant. I mean, what a fight. But then I promptly forget how good it is for the rest of the run. Oh well, I guess. Onwards and upwards. Loretta was pretty average of a fight for me, getting slapped around a lot and such, you know, but I decided to push on towards Malenia before continuing the main story. Along the way, I met with all kinds of great moments that reveal to me the level of king I would be of a horde of dragons. Is it a horde of dragons, or cadre of dragons, or what's the collective term on that?
Ha! Got him!
And dead. 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 Dead.
Blade of Morgott.
And dead. Game of the year. For the Malenia fight, the dragons just couldn't cut it. I just didn't have what it took. There's way too much lag between the casts, things lasting between 4 to 8 seconds, that make it almost impossible for me to catch her out with loads of damage. So I switch everything up to simply
Are you ready to commit a cardinal sin? Very well. Let my hand rest upon you for but a moment.
For the Godskin duo, I bring in some outside help to see if I can use them as distractions to offset the delay times of the dragon casts. Things don't go exactly to plan. To be honest, it's more of just panic spam. Apparently, I haven't learned anything. But hey, at least I try the lightning strike again. I mean, it's something. Now we finally made it to endgame levels of pain. The next several fights, Malekath, Godfrey, the Elden Beast, Radagon, all these guys, these are awful fights for me. They're just simply miserable. Destined Death is a Dragon King killer for sure if there ever was one. Everything is basically a one-shot death, no matter what HP I have or defenses I have. All the bosses are lightning quick despite being 10 times my size, and this is when the Dragon King setup begins to dissolve into madness, sadness, doom, despair, destruction, and annihilation. Now you might think that I'm not having fun because this is miserable, but remember, these abilities are so flashy and fun that it's almost impossible for me not to have fun with the thought of becoming a Dragon King. For whatever reason, I've always found dragons to be such a cool concept or design of a creature. Definitely my top favorite character of the game are the dragons. Well, enjoy me getting my face pushed in super hard for the next several fights. I'll see you at the end. Okay, Editor Owen here. Just a quickie interjection before we finish out the final superset of deaths. Here's exactly where almost all of my complaints for Elden Ring come from. I was so happy to capture it in pristine detail. Key press registration. If this was fixed, I would have no problem giving Elden Ring Game of the Year. Looky here, Mr. Elden Beast doing a sword swipe from my left. I've just rolled once, amazing stamina bar, and I know I have to roll again in order to dodge the incoming strike. Therefore, I time my dodge and press the space bar for 8 frames. You can see that here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. On frame 9, I've released the space bar thinking that Miyazaki understood the fact that I know his boss's moves. But instead, Miyazaki allows the beast to eat my input and kill me on frame 10. The dodge should have registered on frame 1, allowing 9 frames of dodge time. According to a tiny bit of research, I have 8 frames of recovery out of the previous dodge, and 13 iframes for the roll. All that is fine and I'm good with that, however the startup frames and key press registration is super frustrating. Okay, rant over, back to me becoming the Dragon King. And there you have it, folks. I've become the Dragon King of the Lands Between. All that effort, and I get 1 level up. Seems like such a lame trophy. I surely did have a lot of fun with this run though, figuring out how to utilize all of the dragon abilities and techniques. The Crag Blade is simply fantastic as an Ash of War weapon. The Bolt of Grand Sax is phenomenal and incredibly fun to use. All of the dragon abilities have so much flair that I absolutely can overlook all of the negative that anyone can have against them. Since this wasn't a technical run of any kind and more of a cosplay, it truly gives me a lot to play around with in the future. Definitely need to work on Ancient Dragon Lightning Strike though, that one for sure. I hope everyone enjoys the DLC coming out soon. I'll be joining everyone in the Realm of Shadow for sure. And thank you for joining me on this journey. It truly was a test of timing, resistances, weaknesses, millions of lost runes, gained knowledge, and so much more. My opinions on Elden Ring have changed so much over the past 10 runs. I plan on continuing this character to max level though. There are so many things to try out that I can't wait to see what else there is in store for me here in the Lands Between. But I feel for now, I've truly learned the respect of the dragon kind.